Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with yet another Reddit story for you. This one comes from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Not Following My Neighbor's Tradition? I, female 25, have just moved into a neighborhood a couple of weeks ago and so far has been very peaceful. From the neighbors that have come up to me, everyone has been very friendly and welcoming, which I really appreciate since I'm not from around the town. I have noticed that some neighbors have been having frequent parties the last couple of weeks, but I chalked it up to being celebrations since I know one neighbor's daughter just graduated high school and July 4th is coming up. I've been to some of these parties to get to know the other neighbors better, and one person who really stands out to me is this one neighbor, Melinda, not her actual name. At a neighbor's party, she came up to me and introduced herself, and we talked for a while. This is when I learned about the newest neighbor party. Apparently, the newest neighbor is supposed to throw a grand party showing off their home and entertaining the neighborhood as a whole thing. Melinda told me since I was the newest neighbor, it was my duty to do this. I thought Melinda was joking when she told me this, as it didn't make sense to me, and I laughed. This seemed to have made Melinda a little angry. And she said it was serious, and it was a tradition in the neighborhood, and that I had 2 weeks to host a party. This was 2 weeks ago. Yesterday was the day I was supposed to do this tradition, but I happily stayed in bed. Melinda and a couple neighbors came by and rang the doorbell, but I ignored them and enjoyed binge-watching childhood shows. I decided to go outside today, and Melinda came up to me furious, saying that I didn't do the tradition and that I was being a bad neighbor. The thing is, however, I asked some other people about this tradition, and they have heard some people do it, but mostly never really mentioned it to be a reoccurring thing that each new person in the neighborhood should do. I told Melinda that I wouldn't be throwing a party anytime soon as I didn't feel comfortable with the thought of people coming into my home, let alone me having to entertain them. Melinda got angry, saying that the neighborhood is like a big family, and stormed off. I let it go, but the neighbors that were there with Melinda at my house that night have been telling me I should have just done the party and that I'm leaving a bad impression. I think my reason is justified, but I'm not really sure. So, am I the astronaut? Nah, you know who did leave a bad impression? Have you ever seen Over the Hedge? Candy Thunder, you've seen Over the Hedge, right? You know who I'm talking about? The mom in Over the Hedge, like the HOA mom, the HOA head mom. This is her, right? This is her. And she looks a whole lot like this. You done got the bizzo neighbor. You got the bizzo neighbor. And some of the neighbors are like, yeah, I mean, it's some people do it, but not everybody. So her and her little clicky click that just selected or self-elected themselves the leadership of the neighborhood decided that they were going to start enforcing their own rules. They started deciding what is done and what is not done. And the funny part is it sounds like you were like the first one that they made this decision on. They're like, okay, we have a new neighbor now. We decided we're in charge, right? Okay. All right, I'm going to take lead because obviously I should be, like the president of this. And you guys are supposed to stand there and look really, really supportive. Everything I say you agree with, okay? So just do that. Let's go. It's like Regina George grew up and moved into a neighborhood where she just formed her own informal HOA and decided she was going to be in charge of it and bully a neighbor. You don't have to do shit. The only one leaving a bad impression is this bizzo who decided that she is czar of the freaking neighborhood. And what kind of tradition is this too? You have 2 weeks to throw us a party to show off all your shit. By the way, how many times have they partied in that house already? It's in their neighborhood. The neighbors knew. The house is not. I don't understand.
Who unpacks in 2 weeks? Not I. I still got boxes everywhere at 2 weeks. I'm not ready.
I was going to say I would.
Oh, I know.
You can have a box party. Have a party, but bring them all over and be like, all right, the boxes are in the applicable rooms. Just start taking shit out and putting it away. Yeah. Like I'm supplying pizza and drinks. You can do a little bit of work. We're like a big happy family, right? Isn't this what family does for each other? They help them move in. Come on now. Oh, you're not going to help? Well, that's leaving a bad impression. 9 years and still not unpacked. Oh, man. A paint party. Yeah, paint party is a thing. But I think you market this as not a work party, right? You market it as not an unboxing or painting party or whatever it's going to be. You market it as the big shindig that she wants it to be. Get her and her whole posse there because they're going to march in looking victorious, like, see what we made happen. And then you're going to be like, here's a box cutter, bitch. You get that room.